Good morning to everybody. I just want to say it's great to be back at this beautiful shrine. I was here last year. I gave a presentation on how the youth division started, and I'll go into that in a minute here. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Michael Lee and my dad. All the pictures that you'll see on this presentation were taken by them, and if it wasn't for my dad, we actually would not have this presentation because I would not have had it done by myself. So if we could just give them a round of applause for that. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tyler Reif. I'm 16 years old, and up until yesterday, I was the Youth Division President of the World Apostolate of Fatima Youth Division in Green Bay. But yesterday I had to go through and change my notes thanks to Deacon Bob. So now I'm also the national coordinator of the youth divisions for the World Apostolate of Fatima. So if anybody can figure out a really awesome acronym to shrink that all into a small title, I would be happy to hear it. But I'm glad to be here, and as Mr. Ying Palmo said, joy needs to be shared, so I'm happy to be here to share what we've been doing, to share the joy of what we've been doing with the youth division. The Green Bay Diocese, the Green Bay Division Diocese, let's see which way I got to scroll here, okay, is under the spiritual direction of Father Anthony Sirignani. And how it got started with the youth division was my dad is part of the World Apostolate of Fatima. He's now the president. He wasn't when it first started, but he would go around with the Green Bay Division, and he would help out at the churches when the Immaculate Heart of Mary Statue Tour came to the Green Bay Diocese. And me and my siblings would go with some of them. And if you're a kid, or if you know how a kid thinks, you see this all happen, and it's like, hey, cool. But really, we weren't doing anything of it. We would kind of sit there, not get into trouble, or we'd be outside wandering around. One thing that, the thing that helped get my siblings and I involved and get this youth division, this whole youth division started, was actually a question. Because I mean, yeah, I saw my dad and I saw other members of the Green Bay Division doing that stuff. That'd be really cool to do that. You think that, and then if you're a kid, you think, well, they probably don't want my help. If they, yeah, I can do that. So I sat and watched the literature table for a few minutes. Nobody really came in or out, but it was exciting all the same. Then he came back, and I went into church, and the custodian of the statue, wait, let me flip the picture here. Mr. Bill Saki was attending the statue of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Well, he came over and he asked me if I wanted to take a turn to attend the statue. And I said, sure, I would be happy to. I would be honored to take a turn to attend the statue. And those two questions were what got the whole idea going for the youth division. Because one thing is to have the idea, but you can't just say something. If you're going to get a youth division started, or you want to get youth involved with something, you can't just say it. You need to ask the youth. Because if you will have youth who will step up and say, okay, can we do this? But you also have people who, like me, say, well, if they really want my help, they'll ask for it. So we need to be asked. And like I said before, you will have people who will stand up and say, well, we could do this. We could get this started. But a lot of times you'll end up you should ask too, because that's what's going to help keep this going, is asking it. My notes keep going out on me here. When the idea first started rolling for the youth division, before it was all an official thing, I would kind of sit there and joke about, oh yeah, I'm going to be the big guy, I'm going to be the president. I didn't really want to be the president for a few reasons. I didn't think I was good enough to do it. And I figured that maybe someone with some experience should do it. And then I like to say that Our Lady hit me on the head with a block of wood. That's what my mom says, because she converted to the Catholic faith. She said God hit her in the head with a 2x4. So I'm taking that. I say, Our Lady hit me in the head with a 2x4, because I realized two things. I wouldn't know if I could do it unless I tried it, and I'm not going to get experience for anything if I don't do it. And the only way to get experience for doing something is by doing it. And when I said I'd be happy to be the president, I did not, in my wildest dreams, think that I would be the national coordinator of the youth division. So I just want to thank Deacon Bob again for that. I'm blaming him for having to go change my last-minute notes. So what we've been doing since last year, we set up some service projects and events. Oh, that's back. We had our first ever youth assembly in June, and we went from about 12 youth division members up to 30. We started with our Rosary Rally, as you can see here. We had five of our youth division members who were servers. 4 of them carried the statue, our division statue, and we had 2 of them lead the procession there. We also had other youth division members who weren't doing the serving take turns leading the rosary. And what was really cool is we processed around the church for the rosary, and we came in and we finished up we started in the church, so started the rosary in the church, then we went out, processed outside around the church. And then we went inside, and we finished up about the last decade of the rosary. But we did it downstairs where we were going to be having the talks. And when we got in there, everybody kind of stood there while we finished up the rosary. But then something happened. All of a sudden, you're looking at the room like this, everybody's facing the statue, and all of a sudden, one person up in front of the statue kneels down. And it happened like a chain reaction. One person kneels down there, another person went to kneel down there, and it just kept going and going and going until just about everybody was kneeled down. And we finished up the rosary that way. I just thought that was really cool. Because, I wasn't the one who started the kneeling down. It was not me. I was standing there. I figured, I think it'll be really weird if I kneel and everybody else is standing, so I'm not going to do that. I'm one of those people, like if somebody else does it, I'll do it. But so it just went on like a chain reaction. One person knelt down, then everybody else started kneeling. So then after the rosary, Father Tony taught us more about the message of Fatima. This is the picture. He gave us a talk on that. And then we took a bit of a break there, and we went outside to the church parking lot where we had some games set up for the youth. Because, youth are kids, can't have them just sitting there. Otherwise, they're not going to want to listen. And they got to be able to get their energy out. So we set up some games outside. This is a particular game that I learned at summer camp that I went to. It's called Flag Wars. So we had that set up there. And we played Ultimate Frisbee in that for a little bit. Here's a close-up picture where we're getting everything organized. And then after that, we all came inside, and I gave a talk on why youth is important. Because youth really is important. If you're just spreading the message of Fatima to people your age, it's going to go outwards. Yeah, the message will go out, and it'll keep getting spread to other people your age, but it's not going to be continued after all those people your age are gone. It has to be continued by people who are younger than you so that it can keep being spread. It's like if we took a rock. I wanted to bring a rock and write Fatima on it, but I didn't. But it's like if we took a rock and we wrote Fatima on it and we threw it in the river or a lake or a pond. We could even drop it in an aquarium, and it ripples. But instead of starting with the biggest ripples, it starts with the smallest ripples. And it goes bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's how the message of Fatima has to get spread, with the youth, who are the smaller ripples. And then, after that, we split up into 3 groups. And we had 3 separate skits on the 3 apparitions of the Angel of Peace. In this one, you can see my friend Bart there talking to my other friend Tony in the cassock. He is pretending to intently listen on what Tony's saying. He's actually not. And Tony was the Angel of Peace for the very first skit, and he decided to be a hippie Angel of Peace. So that was pretty cool. We had that, and we had the 3 shepherd children, and we had kids who just came out crawling as sheep. It worked out really well. I think I have another one here. Here's the second apparition. We had a narrator in this one. I think we had a narrator in the first one as well. We had a narrator in each one. There's one of the sheep dressed up in a white sheet here. We got that. And we got the 3 shepherd children again. And we ended the night in the best way possible. I mean, who can think of a better way to end the night than with pizza and soda? That is the best. Here we got 2 more youth division members, Andreas and John, mowing down on... we also had cake. That's the best combination of things you can have. I mean, pizza, soda, cake. I think we had cookies and brownies too, but the cake, that was all the highlight. The cake, the soda, and the pizza. That was the highlight. And then, there we go. In July, about a month later, we had Fatima Night at the Movies is what we called it, where we came, people brought snacks, we had leftover soda and cake from the youth assembly, and I gave a talk on the second apparition of the angel, and we watched and ate cake. We watched we watched a movie on Fatima. I forget what it was called, but it was a movie on Fatima. So we watched that, and that ended about 9 o'clock. So that went really good. We had a good turnout there. And other events that we've been helping out with is our annual Rosary Rally. We did this last year as well. And this year we had 6 of our members serving in the procession, leading the procession. Then we had a few of our members help carry the statue, as well as other members. If you can, I don't know if you can see behind the statue there, right behind the Knights of Columbus. We had some of our other members dropping rose petals behind Our Lady. And then, oh wait, hang on, my notes faded out on me. I gotta figure out where I am. Oh yeah, okay. So I've also been speaking at our May through October on the 13th, our annual Fatima Days, speaking about why youth is important and why youth really needs to get involved. Let's see. So in the future, for the future, we'll be having some of our youth members get together and put together service projects and other events that we can be doing with the youth to keep the involvement going and keep more involvement coming. One of the service projects that we had gotten set up was this flyer. This flyer was made specifically for the youth assembly. It was made by 2 of our youth members. The scroll here on the back of it, that was actually hand-drawn. That was a hand-drawn scroll. And this is what we used as the agenda, and we had our prayers and everything, the schedule and everything on there. So this was actually specifically made for the youth assembly. Let me see here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that was specifically made for the youth assembly. So that's the end of the slideshow we have there. And again, if it wasn't for Dad and Michael Lee, we wouldn't have those pictures or the slideshow. I'd just be up here boring you guys. But, so, yeah, and I just want to say, again, why, I want to add this last part here. Why youth is so important in anything, to get anything involved. That's why when you see all these evils and black masses and everything going on, that's what they're doing to try and counter us. They don't care whether their Satan clubs gets canceled as long as their Bible studies and stuff gets canceled after school. They don't care. They're just using that to get youth involved so that they can keep their things going. And that's what we need to be doing here, is we need to be getting youth involved, asking youth. We need to be promoting this all over the place for the youth to keep them involved and keep this going. Because if we don't keep the youth involved and keep this going, they're going to go off and say, hey, well, they're not really asking me if I can help with this, or I don't think I'll be able to help with this, I don't think I'll be good enough for this. They're going to go off and say, okay, they asked me here, I think I can do this, I think I can do that. Or it's going to be something that they don't quite know a lot about, and they'll say, well, it's just this once, what can it hurt? And then they go a second time and say, well, it's just the second time, what's it going to hurt? And then they're going and they're going off in that direction instead of that direction where they should be going. They're moving farther away from Our Lady, farther away from our Lord, rather than closer to Our Lady and closer to our Lord. And just as the last thing here, this last Fatima Day, September 13th, I spoke about, well, I couldn't think of anything to speak about actually, and I've gotten into magic, so I'm a beginning amateur magician here, and I found something in our Blue Fatima book. LLS. It's kind of like LLC, but a totally different meaning. The only things in common that it has are the two L's. And what it is if you've ever watched a magic show, sometimes the magician will bring out 3 metal rings and then possibly hook them all together, right? So he possibly hooks them all together and he can possibly break them apart. Well, LLS is not live first. Learn, live, and spread. So we got to learn, live, and spread the message of Fatima and our Catholic faith. But we have to do that like 3 impossibly metal rings, and we have to hook all 3 of those together. Because without one, we can't have the other 2. If we don't learn the message, we can't live and spread the message. If we learn the message and try and spread the message, but don't live the message, then technically we're not even spreading the message. We're just saying, do this, and we're doing the exact opposite. So nobody's gonna listen to us if we're doing that. And if we learn the message and live the message, we're spreading the message. It's like in the Catechism, the best way to convert people is to be living your Catholic faith. People are going to see the example you're setting, and they're going to say, I wonder what makes them so happy. And you haven't even said anything to them yet. And they're just going to dig deeper and deeper into that, and pretty soon they're going to say, that's what makes them happy. That's going to make me happy. And you haven't even said anything to them. So even though you're not spreading the message with your lips, you're spreading the message with your example. And for spreading the message, I'll take 2 quotes from St. Philip Neri here. He's one of my favorite saints. He would spread the Catholic faith through humor. And I guess that's what I've been kind of trying to do. But he says, we need to be an iron hand in a velvet glove. So we need to be firm, but we have to be soft yet. You can't just go up to somebody and say, be a Catholic. They're going to look at you and say, you're crazy. You need to speak to them slowly and gently and help them look for the answers that they need. Not the answers that you think they need, the answers that they need to see that the Catholic faith and the message of Fatima are what they need. And also, this quote is kind of crazy and weird, but at the same time it makes a lot of sense. You're going to attract more flies with a spoonful of honey than you would with a bucket full of vinegar. I don't know, has anybody heard that? Let's see, show of hands. Okay, good. So it sounds weird, but it's true. The flies represent the souls. The honey represents us being sweet and gentle, rather than the vinegar being bitter and angry at people. Angry is not the right word. Yeah, that's good. Okay, we'll go with angry. I can't think right now. All right, so we're gonna go with angry, and that's what happens. And one way, okay, this will be the closing comment. One way to get youth involved is have other youth who are involved talk to other youth, because there are kids out there who, if Father Finelli, we're going to use you as an example here if that's okay. If Father Finelli went there and he starts talking about this, they're going to look at him and say, you're just a crazy old person, what do you know? But if you have people their age who can say, this has made an impact on my life, this has done this, and this, you guys should really check it out. Not saying you guys should do this, you guys should check it out. That's one way to say, check this out. Go ahead, take a look. You guys don't, just come to this once. Come to this once. And then pretty soon, you'll be drawn to more. Come to this once. You came to the other one. You come to check out this one. Just this once. It works. Because if you can have youth speaking to other youth about how this impacts their life, then you're going to get more youth. I have let's see if I can find it in my pocket here. When I spoke, here it is. I have a little decade rosary here from Italy. And when I spoke at the past Fatima Day, just as I was leaving, a lady came up to me and gave me this. I didn't ask for it. I was surprised to get it. But it shows me two things. One, what I didn't think I was good enough to do in the beginning, I actually am good enough for. So I believe in myself a lot more now, and I actually can do it, and I've gained a lot of experience doing it. And two, this shows me that I actually am having an impact on other people's lives. Thank you. Sure, I can do that. Okay, questions, question and answers.
Where do you get your youth from? Is it just your parish or all parishes in your diocese?
A lot of different parishes in our diocese. We've got some from Extraordinary Forum who come. We've got some from our home parish. So yeah, a lot of different places.
How are they finding out about it?
We're blasting it all over. We get flyers made. We put it in a compass. I do have, if anybody wants to look, my dad has on his computer a video we made specifically to promote the youth division and to promote our first ever youth assembly. So if you want to see it, you can see my dad or me, and we can show you that. But yeah, so we got flyers, newspapers. We got it on relevant radio, I believe. So just getting it out there.
So you've been going for about a year now.
Yep.
We had a group in our division called Minimum for Life, who would always invite abortionists. They gathered together and they did stuff, but it kind of fizzled out.
Right.
How are you keeping your youth engaged that it doesn't fizzle out like this group did?
We're trying to keep things kind of new and exciting, and always have something exciting at one of our events. Like for our youth assembly, is there just having the exciting pizza and stuff at the end. We kind of paused in the middle, and we had some exciting games in there, and we had our skits and something to keep the energy going instead of just having talks and praying and everything. You got to keep the energy going in there. So, anybody else? Yes.
Well, I noticed when raising my children, and we had, my father moved in, didn't understand, but when they realized that they had a purpose, that you invited them to participate, that's when they get involved. And a lot of times in church, the youth aren't asked to help at all. The
Right.
First communion, all the way up to confirmation. Then once they make their confirmation, they leave for college, and then they wonder why they don't come back. Because all the way up, they were not allowed to participate in the mass, not invited to many of the meetings, not
Right.
involved in a lot of things. So by having this, where the children get involved in their own years, before age 8, they said if you teach the faith to them before age 8, 9, before they get more aware of the world type of thing, that's where you plant the seeds so that you may have them in older age.
Right. Right. People wonder why so many people, like, after we've received their confirmation, why it's the graduating point, why we don't have to go to church anymore. And when they go off to college, they're not Catholic anymore. Because when they go off to college, that's the easiest spot where the devil can strike most. That's where he can say, you weren't asked to do anything over there. Why don't you guys ask him this? He'll come do it. So that's why, people in college, I can't say this because I'm not in college yet, but I can assume that a lot of the youth, like she said, they're not really involved in anything. I mean, you've got servers who help out, but that's it. Yeah, and like at our parish, we just started up a children's choir to help keep the youth involved, and we have at our extraordinary forum, our Latin Mass that I also help out at. We have a children's choir there to help keep the youth involved. So we keep the youth involvement with that. But yeah, the reason so many people are going off and losing their Catholic faith is because they can say, well, they can justify that, well, we weren't really asked to help out there. They don't need us there. We can go do something else somewhere else. Anybody else? Father.
If we started a Fatima Club, what kind of things would you suggest we do?
A Fatima Club, I would say, we got a lot of different movies on Fatima. I would say always have some sort of way to incorporate Fatima, I mean, obviously incorporate Fatima in there, but have either somebody who's really involved in Fatima, or the spiritual director, or someone give a talk on Fatima, and then kind of pause. Actually, what I would say is start in church first, pray the rosary. So you got to schedule enough time for this. Start with the rosary, then go downstairs, or you can have your talk in church. What we did for our youth assembly was we had our talks downstairs, but then have your talk, then kind of pause briefly there and do something to where they're not just sitting. Get them up, get them moving, like we did for the skits for the apparitions. Get them excited to do something. Get them really involved to where they are actually doing something. And I would also highly suggest have some adult and help adult plan this, but have a lot of the youth helping organize this, because that was our youth assembly was planned by a few of our youth, and it was led by all of our youth. So I would say that, and then maybe have another short talk on why youth is important, or watch a movie on Fatima or something like that. But make sure there's always something in there to where they're not just sitting there building up their energy or just getting tired and sleepy. Make sure that there's something there that they can do. Anybody else?
Are you guys meeting like monthly, or is it just random events?
It's right now it's kind of random. We're trying to get this whole thing together. So pretty soon, once we get back to Wisconsin, we're gonna have some of our youth get together, like I said, and we're gonna have service projects and stuff planned. There. That's another thing, Father. If you've got a Fatima club together, I would say do something to where they can, maybe get a service project in there too, to where, what we did. A few of our youth members. This wasn't for the youth division, but we had a few of our youth members who help out with a vacation Bible camp at our church at St. Peter and Paul. And one of the things they did there was they put together toiletry bags for homeless people. So I would say something like that, a service project that can help out like that. Anybody else? Perfect.
I think there actually is hope for the future, you know? Get a picture. Anyway, I think